Hey, what's happening, YouTube? I'm back again with the Shin Gunto replica katana by Ryujin Swords. Um, I'm just gonna go over some of the finer points of why I'm really glad that I bought this sword and why I still think that this sword specifically is historically prevalent. Um, why swords in general are always going to be historically prevalent. But first of all, I'm going to talk to you guys about this sword and why this sword to me should have been priced, in my opinion, much higher. But to have got it for the price that I got it at, I am extremely grateful. So let's go over why this sword was $199 with shipping and handling and tax. This sword came to about $219. Let's talk about why I think that this is almost absurd. How this sword could have been priced so low, it doesn't really even make sense to me. It's almost too nice to be sold at that price range. Let's go over a few really crucial points about the Shin Gunto that make it, a $500 or $600 sword rather than a $200 sword. First of all, let's look at the inlays of this sword. It's kind of dark in my room because it is the middle of the night here. I'm doing my review in the middle of the night, which is a little bit strange, but I got bored, so I figured it was a good time to do a review. So I'll try to show you the inlays. We're going to go over first of all, the inlays on this sword are incredible. It's hard to see, especially with my camera. Well, no, I don't speak Japanese fluently at all. I know a few words, and I think what they call these are koshirai, which means, artwork or design or something. If you look at the patterns on the handle here, I'm trying to give you guys a good light. It's almost impossible. Now, the handles are made out of brass. They're not plastic or anything cheap feeling at all. They're definitely some sort of harder metal. But anyways, I'm trying to show you guys kind of the gist of the artwork that's been inlaid into the handle. And they're like little flowers with ribbons, kind of. They're like, it's like flowers and leaves and maybe just flowers. But there's no ribbons really. But it's like, it's almost like it's like $100 worth of artwork. Like if you bought like a wall, not a wall hanger, a door knocker or like a door handle that had that type of artwork on it, it would probably be expensive. It makes you wonder how do they sell this sword for $200? So, anyways, that's not the only thing. The other thing is I think they call this the saya, the sheath, right? In English, it's sheath. Is made out of like metal. It's not like a wood. It's like a very heavy. I think it's actually like some sort of iron. I'm not really sure what type of metal it is. I think it's iron actually. But the fittings on here as well are there's no glue marks or anything. It's all like really sturdy and not chintzy feeling. Like I'm pulling on this right now as hard as I can. It's not moving at all. These are really nice. It's also like screwed in. Like you can see it like has a screw. The fittings are like literally, super tight. So, anyways, that's 2 points right there that make it more higher end, actually. Also, the Stingray skin looks like it's real. It definitely looks real. It feels real. More real than any other Stingray skin I've ever felt, actually. It feels authentic. The textures looks real to me, but the final point is that makes this sword unique compared to other swords in its price range that really just make it completely outcompete other swords in its price range is the fact that this blade not only has a visible well, it is hard to see since the light in my room is sort of poor. Okay, you can see it. It has a visible hamon, which means that they differentially hardened the edge of the blade, and that makes it extremely sharp, and not only sharp, but able to withstand more damage, impact, just better cutting ability in general. So that in itself indicates that it's a higher end sword. The other thing is that blade, this blade, is tool steel. You don't really find other katanas in this price range at $200 made out of tool steel. They're all 1045 carbon steel, or they're 1050 carbon steel, or they're 1055 carbon steel. Some of them are 1060 or a little bit higher. But you don't really find a whole lot of tool steel katanas at $200. So to be able to buy this sword from SBG Sword Buyer's Guide at $200 is almost like a steal. I feel kind of bad almost. Like I should have paid, $450 for this thing at least. But I didn't, and that's fine. And they don't want to charge me that much, so I'm gonna keep it. But I just think it's incredible. It's such an incredible sword, and I told you I would talk to you about how I think swords are relevant. Well, they're relevant. They're gonna be. They have a relevancy, because they can always be used in close quarters combat. In my opinion, you can take a sword into the trenches. Doesn't matter what time period you're in. A knife or a sword gets used in combat at some point. So the sword never really phases out, actually. Technically, you could take a gun out with a sword in close combat. It does have an advantage. It does have an edge over guns in close enough combat. So a sword technically never really phases out, especially something the size of, a dagger or like a survival knife, right? A longer dagger. Something like this would be. I ideal in close combat, even in modern warfare. So, technically, a sword will always have a place on the battlefield for the military, and I'm sure in Japan, sword culture behind the katana will continue to live on, and they'll continue to build on and embellish their sword art uh, with more talent and culture. So that's all I've got to say about that, guys. Enjoy your swords. Get on to swordbuyersguide.com. It's pretty sweet. There's a ton of different swords on there that you can check out. The Shin Gunto is on there. This is such a beautiful sword. I'm so glad that I bought it. Um, Definitely one of my favorites in my collection now. I have 3 or 4 swords, and I could say this might be my favorite now. All right, guys. Peace.